I'm a huge jazz fan. So this is just a jazz station. This is Booker Little, George Coleman. So I don't know. My dad likes jazz. I listen to it a lot, and I think that the improvisation that happens in jazz is very much like entrepreneurship. And so I don't know if that part, because I love entrepreneurship and because maybe there's a part of my brain that just loves that the less classical being so structured and everything. It's really like pivoting constantly, right? It's like when the saxophonist does something, now the drummer is going to have to do something a little bit different, and it's never the same. And you have a plan, right? You've kind of got this song that you're going to play, but every time you play it, it's probably going to be a little bit different. But and as a business person, you've got a plan, and you're constantly,
Who's your favorite?
Sonny Stitt is like one of my all-time favorites, but I mean, all the classic guys. I mean, I'm definitely more of a old school, cool jazz, less of smooth jazz. Though I like it enough. When I get into like wanting to get out of this type of jazz, I'm like listening to rap and modern pop. So I like Taylor Swift as much as I like John Coltrane. So I'm an equal opportunity music listener, so everybody can do something for me. How about you? Do you like music?
Oh,
I feel like you kind of have to.
yeah.
Do y'all pipe music into the store?
CDs, mostly.
Oh yeah, but you've got music playing. What's your? It depends on the room. Kids' room, you play in.
Whatever they want.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no regimen, no method to the madness there.
Do what?
There's no method to the madness there.
But I did. I got to see a lot of the great jazz people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mingus, Sun Ra, Miles Davis,
Yeah.
Roland Kern, Sonny Rollins, yourself too,
Where did you see them mostly? Down here?
and New Orleans.
Okay. Now where are you from?
I'm from here.
Okay.
And went to elementary school.
No, that's right.
And lived about half a mile over there. Grew up on Alabama.
On Avenue? Well, we'll have to talk about that because that's where I live. Well, Meredith, we're live, so actually, would you mind turning off the AC or just bumping it up so that unit will go off? And we'll get going here in a second.
Bumping it up.
Yeah, just bump it to like 75, and then just turn off the unit. So that's good. Thanks. All right. Well, here we go. Now a little bit on that. All right. If you're joining us on Facebook, welcome back to the Mantle Living Room at the City Club here in Fonder, Mississippi. I'm sitting here with John Evans, the owner of Lemuria Books, one of my favorite places to go in all of Jackson. It's other than it always feels so great in there. Y'all keep the AC at just the right temperature. It's always nice and cold in Mississippi. But I love books, so to be surrounded by that many books is really awesome. So welcome and cheers to being on here on the next big thing, chapter 4.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. I like your digs.
Thank you. Well, and so we're City Club here is in the old dueling school, and John was reminiscing because he went to elementary school here, and so I told him he doesn't have to worry about rulers being slapped into. We're very. This should be super casual and very fun conversation. I'm really excited to talk to you about books, just in general. But also business. I mean, you've been in business for over 40 years now. 43, right?
Yeah.
So that takes a lot of gumption. It's pretty special. So to talk about books, talk about business, but also talk a little bit about the Mississippi Book Fair. We'll get around to that because that's coming up. That's actually time sensitive and pretty exciting deal that y'all are in. Well, we'll talk about that later. But here at Dueling, where John got his early education and
met a ruler or two.
Yeah, met a ruler or two, and then so let's talk. Also, something right before we kind of started chatting that you mentioned that you grew up on Avondale.
Right.
So I also live. That's where my wife and my two kids all live. Where were you on that small stretch?
Corner of 1086.
Okay.
The corner.
Okay, awesome. So I'm 2 houses down. We're 1066 Avondale. So
Best friend
Near
was there.
me? Like near me?
yeah, near you. So
I'm on Cowan Place. So.
yeah.
My
So
best friend grew up in the house.
so was that a Munger?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I wish he was on Facebook.
Hey, he may be, but luckily to be back there, so you have to tell him that we're talking about his house.
That's so cool.
It's great. I mean, other than we had a huge tree fall through the middle of it, but my daughter turned 1 week old, and we had to move in with my in-laws. And I told them, you've been begging for a grandkid in Jackson. Well, now you got one upstairs. So we were there for a little too long, but we love it over there. It's a great place.
It's been a many a night in that house.
Well, I knew that we had there's some sort of kinship beyond books then, and that has to be it. We're cosmically related, tied through that place.
We got to be friends when we were 3, and we've been best friends now. He texted me this morning. I'm 4 months older than him. He's rubbing it in. He's a great man.
Well, that's awesome. So we're here in Jackson. And so John is the owner of Lemuria Books. Lemuria started in 1975. Is that right, John?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about how you were you trying to get into business, or did you just love books and you couldn't find what you needed? What was the genesis of your journey to start a 43-year-old business?
Well, I was basically went to college to stay out of Vietnam, and got through college and had a high draft number and kicked around for a while, and got married and said, I got to do something. And everywhere I went, I bought books and records.
Okay.
And Bebop opened in '74, so I said, well, I'll just do a bookstore.
And was Bebop over at Maywood Mart back then too?
I was over here.
Okay.
It was over here in the old Capri.
Okay. And your first bookstore, Lemuria opened where?
Behind Poets, the bar in the quarter.
Okay.
Which was the best music club in town.
Okay, so you opened Lemuria, and I think I read somewhere that you were reading the Whole Earth catalog.
Be here now in Whole Earth catalog.
Right, and so the Whole Earth catalog has birthed things like Lemuria Bookstore now and Apple. So I know Steve Jobs, all you hippies, y'all are all reading the Whole Earth catalog and just making some of the best businesses that I really look up to. And so that, what was it about the Whole Earth catalog?
And just many references to books.
Yeah.
Lifestyle. And so I basically opened that with my wife, and 90 days later I was waiting tables in the bar to keep it open. We were growing sprouts in the bathtub. Had a wonderful lady from Belgium that did foot massage at the 3rd level, and we were right between the sexiest ladies dress store in town and the best bar.
And how long were you there for?
2 years.
2 years. And so were there bookstores in Jackson at the time, or, I mean?
There was no bookstore in Jackson in 1969 other than religious bookstores. And in 1970, Bookland opened at Jackson Mall. And that's what became Books A Million, basically. And went out there every Saturday morning, and my wife worked in the record store. And so every Saturday morning I went and bought records and books. That's what little I had. And Bookworm opened in Highland Village in 74, and we opened in 75 as a counterculture store.
Okay. And when you say counterculture, I mean, you were obviously pulling books from the bibliography of the Whole Earth catalog, from what I read. I mean, so what, at the time, was that just what you liked reading, and so you wanted to give it to everybody else?
Sure.
Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, kind of thing.
Yeah. I got lucky.
Yeah, but there's probably been some hard work along the way. I mean, you moved
I have been
twice.
lazy.
Yeah. You moved twice, and
We're where we are now for 30 years.
for 30 years. So, and
We
so
opened on April Fool's Day, 1988.
that's great. So we were talking earlier about Sandbox Live, and we did that technology kind of what do you blanking on the word for it, but just kind of a conference on technology, and we did it on April 1 too.
It's a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day, and we wanted to say, like, no, it's not a joke. We're going to do a technology conference here in Mississippi. So what better day to do it on April 1? I guess open up a counterculture bookstore in Mississippi at the time when there was nothing but religious bookstores.
It's
Probably seemed like a little bit of a joke too.
It just has worked for us. It's been, a long, interesting journey, but it's been worthwhile. Got really fortunate. I discovered what I wanted to do at 24 years old, and got lucky because I could do it.
That's awesome. And so, and y'all gone through. I mean, so you opened in 1975.
Moved to Highland Village in 77.
77, and then
Banner Hall in 88.
okay, and so y'all have been through though, and we'll get into this, but you've seen some really massive shifts, and
I've seen it all.
yeah, and we're talking about Apple, and the Whole Earth catalog and how that ties you to the iPhone, but the iPhone has disrupted books, crazy, and y'all had to really, take that jazz approach to figure out, how our plan adapts.
Well, it was pretty easy because when they started the ebook phenomenon, it was a very simple decision that we weren't going to do any of that, and so it allowed us to really fortify our brand, which is real books.
Yeah.
So that was basically the decision was if we're going to live or die, we're going to do it with real books.
Right.
And it turned out to be, I think, a gift or a branding opportunity.
Yeah. And now y'all did the real bookmark, right?
Yeah.
So every book comes with a bookmark.
Real.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can see the paper we put a hole in.
Okay, yeah. And what's the point of that? So do people use that to read? So you're only reading
No, we just did it to make sure that you were looking through it, seeing the
Okay.
book, with your bookmark. Just a.
So it's not a reading tool.
No.
I just always assumed it was like a reading tool.
No, it was just a way to make sure that, it was just a gimmick.
Yeah, was that your idea or just?
No, it was Justin's idea.
Okay.
Just do that. And he said, look, we put a hole in it so you'll see the real book between the bookmark.
Yeah, sure. All right, and that's been a staple as long as I've been buying books there. I remember that bookmark for sure.
We just did a bookmark to use at the book festival this year. That's a throwback to one of my early logo ideas one of my salesmen came through and she said, this bookstore's like a damn oasis. And I said, well, I think you just gave me a new idea. I'm going to do a logo with a nude lady sitting under a palm tree reading a book with a drink.
So
we're using that logo.
Yeah, if you've never seen it, you need to go check out their logo. It's really cool. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Starbucks. You know, it's kind of got that feel to it. But
we've got
what is Lemuria? I mean, where did the name come from?
It's a mythic civilization that existed before Atlantis. It was where thoughts were transferred through mental images. It was also where it was an artist type culture with a lot of expression of music and thought transference. And it's the earliest reference I could find to hieroglyphs.
Really? So is that in a specific book or is it more mythology?
It's occult mythology.
Okay.
And very much interested in the hidden side of things, which is what occult means.
Right.
It's not really evil or anything. It's basically a study of what's really going on behind our minds while we're
Yeah. That's deep. How many people come in and ask you about Lemuria? I like the name.
Oh, a lot. I got a standard quick spill.
Yeah, do you ever wish you would just name it like Books Inc. or you think that you think that adds that extra level
I think
remembrance?
I don't know about all that, but I think it's all I could come up with, and I feel like that at that time it represented a counterculture bookstore in Jackson. And I guess the one thing was that if people were traveling through and they knew the word Lemuria, they would say, it's got to be a counterculture thing. And, there were a lot of people on the road, and just like me, I always went to bookstores looking for books you can't find. It's like prospecting, not like the internet.
Right.
The same with music.
Yeah, which is
just really prospecting.
And so I think, speaking of books that I bought at your bookstore, The Revenge of Analog is one of my favorite books, and a lot of what we're doing, and I here at Mantle is trying to grab back social networking from the ether, from the internet, and put it back in face-to-face interactions.
I think we need both.
Yeah, but that book is really interesting. He goes into both books and vinyl and talking about how they were both left for dead by these by technology, and both now independent bookstores are almost at their high that they were at the mid '90s, and then vinyl is just through the roof. We have vinyl records throughout here, and
I still have all my old ones.
Yeah, so good thing you didn't throw them out for CDs or MP3s, right? That's like I raided my dad's and left him with all took all of the really valuable ones, and then he's like, wow, I'm gonna put it back in, and he took them all back. So it's a good segue into kind of thinking about your history, and what's been really cool is that y'all are consistently rated or talked about as one of the top independent stores in the country, and y'all done such a great job building that brand and what y'all do uniquely. What is it that what do you think y'all's special sauce is?
Well, I think the thing that probably got fortunate enough, and I learned it really young when I met Ellen Gilchrist and Barry Hanna and various other people when I was in my 20s, that authors and friendship with authors, and the whole idea that if we wanted to make the books come alive, not as a product, but to have life, that we needed to figure out a way for them to stand up. And that was I figured out that we needed authors to come to the bookstore and sign their book, read from their book. And we're doing that, we're putting their spirit into our store.
Right.
And that's I think the thing that has helped us compete in such a highly competitive market is friendship with writers that care about our work. And I think it makes the substance of labor deeper.
Yeah.
I feel much more fulfilled, you know, helping my friends, helping people read, my friends, and bringing people from other regions to Mississippi, and, you know, bringing national releases to Mississippi. We've got a writer coming this fall called Elliot Ackerman, and I think about 10 or 12 people have read his new book, and I just wanted to work on his book and invited him to come, and he's coming. It's a very strange book.
Yeah.
Very unusual book that I'm going to try my best to make successful in our community. It's about a guy that's shot up over the Mideast that doesn't have arms and legs,
Yeah.
and basically can't talk.
And so you're getting people into your store, one, but also really, in your words, make books stand up. You know,
Make them come alive.
Yeah, to come alive. It's kind of like when you, I guess, the food industry has kind of had a little bit of that, where you know, the chef who used to be so invisible, I feel like has now become front and center. Maybe the same way that an author has, you know, always been, you know, they had their work, but then, you know, you didn't always know them. You had your Hemingways and your F. Scotts, who were obviously, you know, very much more in the spotlight. But
Well, it's you know, somewhere. I think Richard Howarth up in Square Books opened his store in '79, and we started working together to all the best of Mississippi, you know, trying to, you know, enhance, explore, create more literary heritage. And, you know, he's my best friend in the business.
yeah,
So, and by us working together up in Mississippi, we've been able to entice the publishers to send us.
and you guys are all. I mean, you look at, you know, Mississippi's not a place that a lot of people come, and in y'all's industry, you look at a book tour and it's New York.
We put it on the map.
Yeah, it's New York, it's Washington D.C., it's L.A., and then it's, you know,
Jackson.
Oxford and Jackson, and they're making their swing through here. And so you guys, Square Books is another one of my. I was in Ole Miss, spent too much of my life up there, and my folks now live there, but I love going. And he's done it different than y'all, but y'all. That's good to know that you'll work together to
Yeah,
do that.
you know, that's the beauty of independent book selling, is that, you know, your bookseller or the booksellers, you know, create what they want to, and you know, it's not that it's better or worse or anything like that. It's just different and unique. Where would we be in Jackson if we had 5 or 6 unique different independent bookstores rather than Books A Million, Borders, and Barnes and Noble?
Right.
It would be a lot more interesting, diverse, stimulant.
Yeah. So that's kind of how you've got to today. You know, what's the next big thing that you're working on for Lemuria,
Trying to make it better. I've got the best young booksellers that I've ever had collectively. I'm getting to be an old coot, and you know, I don't want Lemuria to go away. So I'm trying to figure out how to create a magic management team that will endure, that I, you know, maybe can work longer. But, you know, I know I can't work as hard.
Right.
And you know, I wanted to get the Jackson book done. That was a really important thing. started. And that was a really important thing. And now I want to try to figure out, you know, I'm so glad we're initiating the literary trail.
So tell me about that. What's the literary trail?
Well, you know, the blues trail that was done. I've been working with Malcolm and basically driving him crazy over all these years. You know, do a literary trail. Do a literary trail.
And so that was one of my questions actually, is that why is Mississippi, in your opinion? I mean, our literary heritage is just way richer than especially on a per capita basis, right? I mean, there's Faulkner and Richard Wright and Mary Hannah and Walker Percy and John Grisham and, you know, I mean, just, you know.
I have a simple answer for that, and that is that we like to tell stories. We sitting in here, let's just say, having a beverage, 4 or 5 folks, and all of a sudden one person's got a story, and that leads to another person's story. And I can remember going up in the country when I was a little kid. And basically, they sat in the carport on Saturdays and Sundays if they weren't working, shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
And I think that's just natural, and I think it comes through in the songwriting, you know, and the blues that was in Mississippi. Just think, it's hot. You can't go do a lot if you didn't have air conditioning. You tell stories.
What part
There's
of
no valid.
Yeah, what part of, you know, the hardship and the strife and our racial history and some ugly stuff, but also, you know, some community and the religiosity of our people, and, you know, I mean, do you think it's just like the perfect cocktail that?
Yeah, it seems almost all mixed up. You could have nice people, and they do ugly things. And of course, you have the race thing, and you have religious people, and then they may take advantage of people. But I think you know, all that built shields, and those shields were hard to crack, and also would have to put the ignorance factor.
Yeah.
And poor. The depression, you know, everybody was poor. So many of the people were poor, and I think it's easy to put people down and make yourself feel better.
And there's probably, you know, knowing everyone, right? You know,
Everyone.
it's not you know 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here. It's 2. I mean, you know everyone, and so you know everyone's business. So
Your group text is sort of like party lines.
that's right.
Your people don't even know what a party line is.
You look at like Faulkner, right? And I mean, he's just airing everybody's business, right? And so I wonder if, you know, that closeness and not being lost in population has, you know, been able to.
Well, and there wasn't really much to do, so a lot of people that did read a lot.
That's right.
And I think that led to the writing.
But you're trying to get the literary trail going, but y'all are in what year of the book fair? Book festival.
4th year, and we're announcing the literary trail. I think that's due to Malcolm and the tourist stuff. And then, you know, my goal is that the strength of the book festival and the literary trail, that we're able to do a literary museum in Jackson. That's mine.
That'd be awesome.
That's mine.
That's your next big thing.
That's the big thing I'd like to have happen. But my colleague said in the newspaper yesterday, it's a lot of money and a lot of years, but you've got to have interest. How do you build interest? You bring tourists to your.
Well, you look at it, you know, the Shakespeare thing, or both Faulkner and now Shakespeare, right, at Ole Miss. And so, I mean, you know, the number of people that they bring in,
Yeah. I just think it could bring a different.
People follow, they travel for that stuff, so.
And I think that they, people, I was up in Clarksville this weekend, and there were people from all over the world travel the blues.
What other state in the United States do you think, do you think Mississippi is top 5, top 1?
As far as writers
yeah.
of music, I think we're number 1.
Yeah. One of my relatives is it crosses both of those lines. There's a guy named Alan Lomax. If you've ever heard the land where the blues began.
Yeah, well, I spent Saturday morning with my son and 3 of his pals. Got up early, fixed a Bloody Mary, got our ice chest of beer, went out in the park, opened some folded chairs and sat out under the trees at Stovall where Alan Lomax first met Buddy Waters.
Really?
So
This past week?
yeah, Saturday morning.
How about that?
Spent 2 hours just talking music, talking money.
And so your son is Austin, who we can take a shot of. This is one of my favorites, the honey.
It's too easy.
It's too easy, right? That's what makes it really great. But started Cathead. When did he start Cathead?
Started
Over 5 years ago? No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 79 or 80.
Oh, really?
Maybe, I know he started working on it. I don't know when he exactly got, because he had to get the state to legalize it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there wasn't a legal distillery. And he and his business partner, Austin, moved back home to me from Charleston, South Carolina, and started working with the state trying to figure out how to create the distillery legally.
So other than booze, music also runs. They support a lot of music, right on the label. So your family, it's books and reading and music.
Well, let's put it this way: he got to go see a lot of music when he was really young.
Yeah. And now they have Cathead Jam and some other really neat stuff. It's been fun to watch, probably.
And hopefully he'll keep being successful and keep contributing. He wants to release. I better not say that.
Yeah. We'll keep you on the edge of your seat for what he wants to release. So we'll all wait in suspense, and go follow Cathead, because they're
His business partner, by the way, is Richard Patrick.
Okay, yeah. So just doing a great job and really being leaders in that industry, just like you. So obviously, Akron didn't fall too far from the tree there.
Quite proud of him.
That's awesome. But so back to your industry, what do you think is the next big thing in your industry that you see coming? You take a step back and you got kind of the singing lyre who starts taking stories that people were passing down and then kind of disrupts, and then you've got the Gutenberg press that then of course puts all the monks out of business, and then you had Amazon. Well, you had the big bookstores, right, first. So you've got Barnes and Noble and Borders and
We had the malls.
and the malls and then Amazon. But like we kind of referenced earlier, the independent bookstore is back on the rise, and y'all are also competing with ebooks, and you're competing with Audible and listening to books. Where is the industry now, and what's the next big thing for independent stores, but also just writing in general?
I think it's. I don't think really anybody knows, but I have some theories of where I think we're headed. I think the big immediate question is what's going to happen to Barnes and Noble, because Barnes and Noble did what I would call a marvelous job of putting independents out of business and keeping young people from going into the independent bookstore in the 90s. They came up with the formula of their concept and plugged them in all over the country. I think they had 150 or so go out of business, closed. last few years. They got clobbered by the Nook. Their stocks dove. I just don't know what they're going to do. It's rumored that Indigo, a Canadian chain, might buy them. It's been rumored, Amazon might buy them. I don't know if Amazon needs them after buying Whole Foods, but
Got the distribution channel for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the next telltale art. What are they gonna do? Reggio 78 is the founder. There's a piece in the New York Times today about the disgruntlement of the investors. I think if they go out of business, it would be a great thing, because I think that it would allow more young people, more smaller bookstores to get started. And one thing I do like about what's going on is that people are starting small, finding their own self, finding their own voice. And if they learn to do things right, they'll grow. That's the way I grew. That's the way Richard Square Books. We only had $8,000 worth of books. We opened, which means you got to turn a whole lot. And I think that the store starting small will figure it out. I think the next big thing will be, what will Amazon do during the seismic shift? Have they had enough? Their physical stores, I think, are going to be a real airport store, like coffee house. They're going to have I think it's going to be hard for them to have booksellers in their stores, because they're going to be, virtual.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, that's a culture.
Yeah.
Right, and it's hard to, when you got that many to instill that culture.
And then what are the publishers going to do to compete with Amazon? Are they going to start selling books direct?
Right.
To compete with Amazon? So, the retail size of the shift book we've talked about, it's definitely going on. So, I feel like that all of this will have to make you be better.
Well, and I think what's interesting is, direct to consumer, like you were just mentioning, with potential publishers. What do you even need Amazon? But at the same time, what technology's done a really good job of is removing. America was built on putting middlemen between middlemen, so that everybody was taking a little bit, along the chain, right? And technology and stuff like FedEx and the change in transportation and smartphones and the internet has allowed people to remove those middlemen, to where now you can get it. But one of the things that Mantle is doing, and what we find, is that while you can now find everything in the world, someone has to be out there telling you what's good, or at least giving you a hint. And I think that that's something that your store does really well. Is I can walk in and my dad loves books, and you've got to know exactly what he likes, and I can come in and you're like, here's what that here's what you need to get at.
That's the fun for you and for me.
Yeah, oh, it's great, and
But I don't think, I really believe that customer service, authenticity, caring about your product, and just being as honest and upfront, authentic as you can be about your product and what you're trying to do, goes a long way to stay in business, in the small business arena. Because experiences, real experiences, are hard to replace.
yeah,
It's what you talk about. It's what you tell stories about.
that's right.
It's where you take it to another level, and it's fun.
Yeah, I mean it's me coming in, and you know we bring our kids into your store on their birthday so they pick out a book, and one day they'll hopefully you're still around, not you but your store that you're trying to build is still around, and they'll tell the story of like I remember we used to come in here every year on our birthday. We obviously buy books between them too, but hopefully that's that experience, the touch and the feel of the place.
It's quite rewarding to have 3 generations of a family in the bookstore at the same time.
Well, we've been that family because my grandmother is actually from here, and so we used to come up and.
I don't know that I've had.
We've never had 4. My grandmother had moved on by the time that the 4th generation had come along, but we definitely had 3 at a time.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty neat. See granddad and grandson and son.
Yeah.
All getting together.
So you kind of touched on it. I mean, customer service, is that your big thing for your business? I mean, is it culture? Is it idea? Is it your team? Is it strategy? Is it all of it? Is it what's kind of number one? And then what?
I think for me, it's always been the number one thing is the quality of the books that we do. Because I think that's the starting place. Is to have the books. You choose the books. Booksellers choose the books, and you stand by them. And then how do you stand by them? You read them. You practice customer service. You provide good, interesting sections, good, interesting voices within. Try to edit out the bad books. And my whole theory for that has always been, if we can keep the bad books out, and all you see is good books, you will never see the bad books. We have 80% good books, you aren't going to see the 20% bad books.
So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? I mean,
it's just when you buy the book and you get it in and it looks bad, and if it doesn't sell, you return it.
You just look at the cover.
Right.
You're judging it by the cover. Yeah.
You look at it all.
Yeah.
And the cover is,
Yeah.
if it's poorly marketed, will it sell?
That's right.
And it's no different than all the other marketing that's going on today. But it's easier to sell nicely.
Yeah.
And it's easier, and I think that's one of the things that the industry's doing better now, is they realize that they would throw in product at the consumer without much design emphasis.
Right.
It was all about volume, old school. And I think now, especially with the infiltration of the ebook, that they realize that buying a book, reading a book, and wanting to keep that book needs to have value in all aspects.
That's right.
The value of the binding, the value of the end papers, the value of the paper, the value of the dust jacket. It's become so much more sophisticated and rewarding to be in the position I'm in, which is having nice books.
But yeah, it's interesting, and because with technology and ebooks and then audiobooks, which is kind of another front that you all are fighting as a real bookstore, right? I mean, for me, I'm the person who I read ebooks because I read them on the treadmill. If I'm find my time doing that, or I listen to Audible because I'm in the car. But I often, the books that I really love, and I'm kind of weird in this way because I'll come into your store and I'll buy that book, and I may never open it because I've already read it. But it's almost, now I have my bookshelf, which is almost like a trophy case, right?
Wait till you get older.
Yeah.
And you want to remember something in that book. And you go pull it down and you pick it up, and all of a sudden it finds you at the right moment again.
Yeah. And
I'm a big believer that books find you when they're supposed to. And that one book leads you to another book. And that's part of the real weird thing is why do you pick up a book that's 100 years old and all of a a sudden it's the most perfect thing for you. It found you as you found it. And that made
It's the Lemuria, right?
Yeah.
It's the transfer of ideas through, you know, it's the
I believe that. I believe, why do you read Atlas Shrugged at the right time in your life? Why do you read Les Miserables at the right time in your life? Why do you read a poem?
Right.
A poem. And it's that's a real physical experience that happens.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's that magical.
It's that perfect cocktail, right? I mean, it's just everything, you know.
And then if it finds you and it's the wrong time, just wait.
Yeah.
They find you again.
May find you next time, and you get it.
Don't force it.
Yeah.
Just let it.
It's interesting, guy. So when the book that was for me was The Sun Also Rises, and that's found it at the end of high school, and then I read it every single year of college and at the beginning of summer, and then even my going on my extra half lap at Ole Miss, which is required for most people. I went over to Spain with Ole Miss, and I actually picked up La Fiesta, which is the Spanish version, and butchered my way through it while I was there, and read it in Spanish, and then that part of my life kind of sunset, no pun intended, but and
It'll find you again.
and so just recently I reread it because people said. You're always answering, what's your favorite book? And for me, it's always been The Sun Also Rises. And I was like, well, maybe it's not my favorite book anymore. I couldn't even remember parts of it, right? And I was like, why did I even like it? And I read it again, and I think what's interesting is that I identified with different characters. And different characters had become my new favorite character. The book was still fantastic.
Well, I think what happens, and I think Hemingway's a great example of this, and I don't know how his genius was able to do this, but I believe he changes as your life changes.
And that totally happened. And
that's exactly
a guy that I thought, and blank on the guy's name, the character's name, but I always so much Jake, right, is the protagonist, and I always thought that I identified with Jake, and then I reread it. I was like, man, Jake's kind of, is lost, and then you've got the guy, I'm blanking on his name, and I was like, that guy had it all together, and he goes home, and like everyone, he's kind of like a square, but man, he had it all together, and this Jake guy.
And it'll change again when you read it in yourself.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I'm rereading right now Jim Harrison's novels. And, he's one of my favorite writers, and I think one of the handful of great writers of our time since I've been in the business. He passed away a couple of years ago. I've reread all his poetry, reread a lot of the novellas over the years, but I decided I'm going to read all his fiction every morning, about 10 minutes. 10 pages, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the stationary bicycle. I've been rereading all his novels.
So that kind of is interesting. What's you have to do a lot of reading.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, one, you enjoy it, but like in order to curate your books, that's part of your special sauce. There is like having all the right books and you read them, or a lot of them. How do you? What's your day-to-day reading look
Well, I was just talking to Meredith over there, and I said, I'll give you a tip on how to finish books, and that is that I read a lot of books at the same time. I read a lot of different kinds of books because I don't know what mood I'm going to be in when I get home from work. recession, I read business books. I could start that. Gladly, I would rather read Jim Harrison. But I read usually a poetry book or two. I love Chinese poetry, ancient Chinese poetry.
Do you read it translated or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And
I like it too. I just like to look at the characters, but nah, I don't know what it's saying.
But I'll read another poetry book, and now I'll read a business book at night. I like to read a mind book, and I like to read, a novel. I'm reading Grisham's new novel coming out in October right now, and I like to read a nonfiction book. So it's kind of when I get home, if I pick one up, and it's, my brain's not clicking, just close it up, get another one.
Right.
Find out what mood you're in that night, and you just set a book down and try it again the next night, and pretty soon you'll be in the mood. I'm also reading a music book. I like to read music books at the same time. I'm reading the new history of Alligator Records, written by the owner that was created in 1970. I just go.
Yeah.
And usually one of those books, it'll hit me, and I go, okay, I'm getting ready to finish this book, and I'll read another 3 or 4 or 5 nights in a row, and the others kind of have to.
Yeah, it's like once you get over the top of the mountain, right? You
Yeah.
can see the promised land, and you can run, and you're going downhill.
I will tell you something interesting about the new Grisham book, which is coming out in October. He really has challenged himself, and rather than take the easy road, which is write a formula book. I think he wrote a fun book, The Camino Island, that book collected, and wrote a fun book with the baseball book. He wrote Painted House back there, which was like a Willie Morris book. But this book is very different. It's most violent. It's set in 1946. His main character is a Merle, and he's a World War II veteran survivor of Bataan. So you have the crime, and then you have a historical World War II novel. And it's very interesting. He's really challenging himself, which I admire.
Yeah. So you got to get deep into some history there too. So
Yeah.
a lot more research.
Yeah, my wife's finished it. Said that, I didn't even know all of this. I said he probably read it.
Yeah.
Probably, but it's very different. And I think it's going to be really well received from a branding perspective. I think it's going to bring more people
Right.
to appreciate
His
work.
actual, right. Because
He's gotten to be a better writer.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's overlooked. And so often the formula writers don't get better. They just write for their fans.
It's nice to make all that money.
And the publishers are pushing it.
Yeah.
And the booksellers are too.
Yeah.
I owe a great deal of thanks to John Grisham and his club for our bookstore, as does Richard and Square Books.
Well, John Grisham, a Mississippi guy, bring it back home. What's your big? We kind of touched on it with, Mississippi's got a lot of problems, but what's your big idea for where you live? So what's your big idea for Jackson, for Mississippi?
I think it would be real critical for Mississippi if the city of Jackson could become strong, because I think we've done a great job with the Civil Rights Museum. We need the library to be better. We need downtown. We need young people. We've got the vitality of young people.
And Cat has been great to go down there.
He wanted to do it. I wasn't particularly a cheerleader on that, but I think, the fair, I moved through the Fair Street in London, and the baseball park, London, it's just, but I think that that's a real critical thing, and I'm real glad that the book festival's downtown. But I think there's a real problem with Madison and Clinton and Richmond and Flowood and Brandon. A lot of people just won't come into Jackson and do business. It's something they have to go out of their way for. So I think it's up to Jackson to create reasons.
Right.
And it's nice to see some hotels for out of town people. It's nice to see a quadroom. I think that can bring some people into town. The roads are a little better.
Yeah, we're almost there.
I just think it would be great for the state of Mississippi if Jackson had a better vitality.
Right.
And I think it would be, would open new doors, new businesses.
And
And just look what you're doing. I mean, how new of a concept is this? I hardly even understand it.
I don't either. So.
Okay, but it's vitality. It's young people coming together to make a difference. To me, that's extremely important.
Well, and y'all are doing your part with that, with the book festival, and it starts on what, Friday?
Friday night, the writers come in and have a big cocktail party thing in the old Capitol. And I think they'll have breakfast at the Civil Rights Museum and the archives. And then the panel, they have an announcement at 9 o'clock celebrating Jasmine Ward. The poster for the book festival is a painting by Baxter Knowlton, who grew up here, Jasmine. And then they're going to announce the literary trail, as well as Jasmine's marker. And, I also,
how many markers are going to be on the trail?
Don't know. I hope relentless amount.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I didn't know they were starting with a certain number.
But they started with 2. They were going to start with 4. And I think it's just taken a while.
Right.
To get it together. But I think we've got so many young, potentially great Mississippi writers under 55.
Well, and you've got Angie Thomas and Jasmine Ward, both just
Stars.
And just Jasmine Ward is one of just only a handful of people to won the National Book Award twice.
Fogger.
Yeah, I mean, right. So it's like maybe 4 people, and half the that are awardless is from
And she's a worldwide author right now.
Right.
I think many people realize that. And she's one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing, will be in November when her movie comes out.
So what is which movie is that going to be?
Hate to give.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so Angie Thomas.
Yeah.
And so who's have you had a book come across from the next Mississippi writer that you just loved, or that somebody
like Michael Smith's last book, The Fighter. I especially like his Desperation Road book. I think Matt Quinn has a lot of potential. Lives in Jackson. I think his Resurrection his debut novel was a really fine book. It's about body snatchers before the Civil War in South Carolina. Because that was when they didn't have the medical school didn't have bodies to learn anatomy.
Right.
And he tied that in nicely. Gosh, Tom Franklin.
Yeah.
I mean, what a fine young writer. Beth Ann.
Yeah, Beth Ann. I took English from at Ole Miss.
Yeah, beautiful lady who writes wonderful. Gosh.
And then obviously, like in the food space, John T. Edge is.
You got Currents, John Teague, Robert St. John.
Yeah.
It's a great vitality, and I think the book festival emphasizes that and brings it all together. But we also want to have a regional. I'm so excited that we got Charles Frazier to come back to the book festival, because I think his new book, Arena, which is set partially in Mississippi about Jeff Davis's life, told through her eyes and mine. It's probably the strongest book to come out of the South. So
Really?
really,
Well, Cold Mountain was one of my all-time favorites. I mean, it's unreal.
so he's coming back to the festival.
Very cool.
Kevin Powers was going to be with him.
And John Meacham, right?
Kevin Meacham's coming back. It's going to be with Carl Rove.
Okay. Yeah, are they doing a panel together?
They're just doing a conversation.
Okay.
And Carl Rove is who John Meacham wanted to have come and be with him. Charles Frazier was going to be with Kevin Powers' new book, which is also set pre-Civil War novel. And I was real excited about that. Kevin Powers got the motorcycle wreck. That would have been, to me, I think, one of the best conversations. The Johnny Miles panel, lived up in Oxford for years, was with Michael and Jamie, I'm drawing a blank. But she's great. She came in January for her book, Jamie Quartet. Too many names, too old, too many books. I can't even remember the titles of books anymore. It's just a new one,
Right.
that went away 20 years ago. But that's going to be a great panel. And, Mary Miller, Jackson author, is going to be the moderator of that panel. So we'll have 3 Mississippi connected young writers, and Jamie Quarto lives outside of Nashville and teaches in Swanee. And she's goes to Oxford a lot, goes to Jackson. So that's going to be a wonderful panel.
So you are 4 years in, good crowds.
3,000, 6,000, hope for 8 to 10.
That's awesome.
And it's casual. They're going to have more food trucks. You know, we've made our mistakes.
Yeah, learn, live and learn.
Yeah. I'm real excited. They're going, Alan Downs is doing a beer truck beginning at noon, so that we maybe can have people stay in a little longer.
Yeah. And are they doing? I can't remember. I think I asked you. Are they doing a business section, or are they doing children?
They've added one. They've added a panel. It's late in the day, and I'm not familiar with how it's all come together.
Yeah.
It's been put together late,
Yeah.
and I don't really know who's on it. I kind of shifted off of that about a month ago to try to make sure we had all the books
Right.
represented. I mean, it's a lot of figuring out.
And y'all are doing that with who? It's Lemuria, but it's also.
We're just doing it.
It's just y'all. Okay.
Yeah, it started, you know, and I told the board of directors people, I said, look, we can't do a book festival if somebody doesn't sell the books because people are going to be frustrated. And I said, I don't really particularly want this if you've got a better idea,
Yeah.
but I will make sure all the authors are represented and have their books. But I don't want it to just be, you know, somebody's got to do that, and I'll do it. But I also want every other bookstore that wants to come and sell whatever they want to sell. But you've got to have somebody
Right.
taking care of the authors and the publishers. If you don't, then the publishers aren't going to feed you.
That's right.
So, but we've got 3 years worth of statistics now, trying to avoid cash flow problems. It rains. Yeah, just
Yeah.
and, you know, try not to lose money. Yeah, make customers and not lose money. Support the state and do
Yeah.
the festival. Maybe make a little bit, but I tell my booksellers don't expect that.
Yeah.
I've been in this game a long time.
It's all about marketing.
Big
For the dollar down the road, right?
Big picture. Stay
So,
big picture.
So that sounds awesome, and like I said, I hope that we'll be able to get down there and eat some food truck and have a beer.
Bring your family.
Yeah.
Bring your dogs. Ride the bicycle.
So kind of shifting from big things to little things. What's the little thing that you do every day that makes a big impact in your day?
Well, I try to still read the physical newspaper. Beginning at around 5:45. try to start exercising at around 7. Then I get on my stationary bicycle and read. Right now I'm reading Jim Harrison. That's that 30 minutes of reading and taking the mind off trying to strategize for work and all of that.
Meditation.
Puts me in. I've done all those years of, beating your head up against before work, trying to get to work with the right mindset and aggressive, trying to get as much done.
So what's your physical newspaper that you read?
I read the Wall Street Journal the day after it comes out, and just read the Clarion Ledger. But I do enjoy reading the Wall Street Journal, especially like it the next day.
Yeah, let the news marinate for a second.
That way
Most of it's not going anywhere anyway.
Yeah, but I also just like it because I'm feeling the pressure
To keep
to
up.
read it and make sure I make a decision.
That's right.
It's already too late.
So what's the little thing that you use? So that was that you do every day that you use every day that makes a big impact in your day.
Stationary bicycle right now. I was jogging and I had a knee replacement, wore it out.
Now have you read Shoe Dog? It's by the Nike founder.
No, I haven't, but I want to.
You got to. It's great.
It's a really good book.
Yeah.
I'd like to read it.
He talks about running and how you ran 6 miles every single day, no matter what.
I remember when they opened the first jogging store around 1979 in Highland Village. And they had those blue shoes with the yellow flame on them, which you probably don't remember. I guess that was a Nike.
I was close to being born.
You wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
But I went over, I like the guy, it's a hippie guy. I went over there and bought a pair of jogging shoes when it was 1978, 1979.
So exercise is still a big part of.
I think it's how I used to organize my day. Then of course coming home, another little thing is trying to read.
Yeah.
Get that 2 or 3 hours.
And so thinking about exercise and reading, and your family's grown now, but how was organizing your life for work-life balance? Was that something that you thought of a lot, or is that something that just has been invented by current culture?
I really enjoyed coaching youth baseball. And my son, when he started playing youth baseball, my father passed away when I was just turned 12, and I realized if I ever wanted to have a son, I wanted to do that. I missed that. So we did that from, I guess, 8 years old to 15.
Yeah.
And that was something that my daughter rode horses. My wife kind of took that. I took baseball with my son. We tried to spend as much time that way as possible. And that to me was, I guess, a way to make sure I was family time.
Y'all still watch baseball?
Not as much as, because I hardly ever turn on the TV.
Yeah.
I got screen drawn.
Yeah.
I'm just, the whole, having to sit in front of the computer and then watch TV, carry the phone around, and it's all the same. It's the screen. I don't know. I revolt.
We told my 2-year-old.
Has he got a cell phone yet?
No, but we told my 2-year-old. Like, he kind of does because he has his mother's cell phone all the time. But we told him about a week ago. We said, James, you have a technology problem. But no, it's crazy. It's always there. So you're reading a lot. Is there, and talking about screens, is there anything that you watch or listen to on a daily basis, podcast or do you ever listen to books? And what's your thoughts on that? Is that cheating?
I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And my wife, she likes to drive and listen to them. If I'm going to drive and have anything, I don't love music.
Yeah.
And if it's a book, I don't want to ruin a book. I want to read by listening to it.
Yeah.
And my brain just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I don't listen to music as much. I used to listen to music and read, but I think as I've gotten older,
Jazz. That's the only place I can do it. Is like jazz or classical. Yeah.
music, but I guess over the years, I think I've gotten to be a better reader. I think that's something you can do, especially with your kids. Not when you're around. But I think, and I've learned to read slow, read real slow, and I enjoy it more, and I don't want the distraction. Now I have to have music on at work.
Yeah.
If I don't,
So what's your go-to music? I mean, is it everything?
I'm not too much on white people's music. I like blues and jazz, and
Hip hop.
no, don't like it. It's I don't really know why, but I've gone to some, what is it, hip hop or rap, that kind of, with my son, here for the people, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I don't remember some of those early, I guess, hip hop stuff in the 80s that he was into, and the Adidas, Run DMC,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. And I enjoyed it then.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys.
Did he drag you to Snoop Dogg at Howlin' Mountains?
No, he didn't.
So we would have both been there.
But yeah, I enjoy going to music with him. That's one of the things we still do. We were up in Clarksdale this weekend. We were talking about alumni, so we went and spent the morning sharing beverages with some of his pals. We did like to hang around with people 40 years younger than I am, 30 years younger than I am, and drinking beer out under the trees, listening to Muddy Waters and talking about it.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Well, last one. If you could leave behind only one idea for others, what's that idea?
Love your work. Just love it. Work as hard as you can. Just enjoy it. Like I say, I got real fortunate. I found what I was supposed to do. Fell out of the blue. I was
Lemuria.
24 years old.
Good. What has happened?
And it just turned out I found the right thing in my hometown, basically in the whole my neighborhood I grew up in. Raised my family, got them educated, and I wanted to stay in Jackson. I want Lemuria to be here. Whether it will or not, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you personally. We love coming in your store.
It's always a pleasure to see you, see your kids.
It's I get to spend less time than I would like in the back part of the store. But like I've gotten to really be a connoisseur of children's books, and they're their own really cool genre, and it's really neat. But so one day, once they stop pulling off every book off your shelf, so I feel for the super knowledgeable ladies that are that work back there, because I'm like, sorry, but once they stop pulling everyone off, hopefully I can kind of get back towards the part where I love, which you can tell that you love jazz because your jazz section is just great too. You have 2, 3 full shelves of just really great stuff. And my dad and I love jazz, so like that's every 3rd book I get is one from that section. And,
I want to say something. You talked about the children's store. I'll say Clara Martin, that is our children's person. I think she worked there in high school and went to Vanderbilt. Now just got been up to Vermont, getting her MBA or whatever it is in English, and is working on a children's picture book and working on her, I think, a young adult book. It'd be really neat to have her books and her be successful.
y'all ever thought about getting into publishing?
Yeah, I think she's working on it.
Yeah.
You know, she's
Or Lemuria.
Oh, no, I've done my one book.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do it. That was one of the hardest things.
Well, I appreciate you, and I know Jackson appreciates you.
You're very
And
kind.
Mississippi appreciates the work that you and Richard and Square Books and Lemuria are doing. I mean, it's so cool to be a part of a literary history here that goes back to writers, but they can't do it without people selling them. So, thanks for taking the extra time to do things like the Mississippi Book Festival. If you're out there listening, MS Book Festival on Twitter and Instagram, I think. Go visit. Be a part of what John and a lot of other people
A lot of people working hard.
are trying to. I mean, that's one great piece of our culture that we really, like you said, are number one. And I mean,
I'd like to say one other thing that I think would be interesting to you and what you're doing here and what I'm trying to do with the young people at the bookstore. And that is that, and I've been trying to figure it out for a decade since the recession, which is how to create new team. What is a new team in management, and how to make young people not want to compete or not feel like competing, and then make them think hard enough about the people they're working with that they want to figure out how to create meaning not just in their life but in the lives of the people that they work with. And I think that we will see a lot more businesses. It's like kind of what you've got going here. Everybody here is helping everybody, or in the position to help everybody. And how do you evolve into where everything you're doing is helping everybody else you're working with?
I think
It's an evolution.
Yeah,
It's
it really
new.
is.
It's really new, and it's hard to get people to sink into it.
I think it's interesting, and a whole other conversation. Maybe we need another podcast on it, but millennials get a bad rap, but they're really working together and collaboratively more often, even though they may be working by themselves. And it's just an
Very
interesting
insight.
it's an interesting shift from industrial to creative that I think is what you're kind of talking about. And Meredith, who's here running the film, is on our team, and I can tell you how flawed I am as a leader, but half the reason I come in to buy most of these books is to figure out how to get the most out of her, but also we talk about being friends and working together a lot, because I think that on our mission statement, one of our things is an old African proverb, which is to go fast, go alone, but to go far, go together. And I believe in that, and so we try to do that here, and couldn't be doing this really without Meredith sitting here right now, but we're always learning and trying to adapt in that situation.
And you can have a lot more fun.
Oh, that's what's let's
It's all about fun.
Yeah.
If you can't figure out how to have fun,
That's right.
And do what you will never find what you want.
Yeah. Do what you love.
And figure out how to
have a
fun.
good time.
And then, you'll have the problems. They're going to be there.
Yeah.
But you just got to figure out how to solve them. And it's so much nicer when you've got a team solving the problems, not just the boss down.
Yeah.
And I think that's coming. I think that's probably, and you're talking about with your virtual, everybody working together, that they're alone when they can work together alone and then be physically with people. You're going to have a much more fulfilled situation. Technology's there.
Oh yeah, it's very cool, and
Very cool.
we're hoping to bring it to Mississippi, but to everywhere else.
Well, cheers to you.
And to you. And I
Thank you
ran
very
through
much.
mine. But thank you, John, for coming in, and
Like what you're doing.
I appreciate you.
And the way we can support you and care about you.
And good luck this weekend.
Yeah, we'll find out. Let's hope we don't have to be no.
All right, and we've got a couple people lined up. Hopefully, back on the schedule. Don't have the dates yet, but both Chip Pickering and also John Lemansky, the keto doctor. So make sure you're following us on Twitter, which is the best place to follow us at Next Big Pod or Next Big Thing Pod. And you can find through their old archives. John, we'll have John up soon, but Casey and everybody else that we've interviewed, and so go check us out. Thank you, for being a part of this, John. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Sure. Great. Meredith, thank you.
This is enjoyable. Not gonna lie.
Do I?
Nice.
It's always fun. This is
Yeah. No, I learned a lot.
No. Well, good.
good fun. Yeah.
Want to use your restroom?
Yeah. Hey, did you